Hey y'all, time for another lore compilation. Like always, I feel I gotta thank y'all. The growth and feedback I've been getting just always blows me away, and I'm never sure how to thank y'all besides just keeping making stuff y'all enjoy. And I'm also really grateful that y'all have been really receptive to me stepping away from Sonic every once in a while and covering other topics I'm interested in. My approach to videos has always been to talk about stuff I love and just to share those feelings with y'all, and I'm so happy you all enjoy it. I have one more seasonally appropriate video planned for this month, and I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure it gets done. I also have another big project planned to release at the beginning of December, so I'm gonna be locking in on doing that too. Also, me and the Wikizilla crew are trying to get a Halloween kaiju profile done for y'all at the same time, so a lot we're working on. This video will be a compilation of all of my shorts from May of 2025. Let's get into it. This is when Fleetway's Supersonic had amnesia. After being defeated in issue 100, the depowered demonic hedgehog finds himself wandering the city with no memory of who he is. Luckily, he's taken in by an old woman named Madge. During his time with her though, he finds himself afflicted with nightmares of his previous life, leading to him leaving her home to figure out who he is. Though she does give him her husband's beer money to help him get by. In his travels, he eventually happens across Ebony and Pajamas, a pair of magic users. Pajamas ends up using her psychic abilities to restore Supersonic's memories, but as he no longer was tapped into the chaos energy that made him evil, he has no desire to destroy, vowing never to use his powers again, and is subsequently taken in by Ebony and Pajamas. This is when Sally punched Fiona. In issue 15 of Sonic Universe, Sonic and company cross paths with the Destructics. While they do battle briefly, Fiona makes it clear that they aren't looking for a fight. Fiona tells the heroes that while she had brought back the Destructics, their first line of business was re-recruiting Lightning Links. Our heroes are clearly apprehensive about working with the villains, leading to Fiona directly appealing to Tails, with her very clearly preying on his past feelings for her. Sally, however, is not putting up with this, and punches the vixen right in the gut. Despite this, they find that their separate goals, reuniting with Lightning Links and dealing with his ninja clan, actually align, leading the two groups to work together. The internet has been debating on who would win, one gorilla or 100 people. Let's consult Archie Sonic for its opinion. In issue 30 of Sonic Universe, we are shown Sergeant Simon Simeon's backstory. As Robotnik began his takeover of Mobius, Simon attempted to convince his people to stage a rebellion against the Doctor, though they believe he'd never find them in the jungle. Despite this, Simon starts stockpiling weapons, which greatly upsets his grandfather, telling him he's not dragging everyone into his fight, leading the gorilla to stage a one-man war. When the heavily armed gorilla breaks into the Doctor's base, we only ever see him destroy 1, 2, 3 of Robotnik's minions, but he is quickly overwhelmed. This isn't the end of him though, as he's rescued by Mammoth Mogul, who's interested in acquiring his services. Also, Robotnik's base isn't destroyed, as he does stage an attack on the village later. So as far as Archie Sonic is concerned, even a heavily armed gorilla cannot take out 100 Badniks. But if a woolly mammoth shows up to help, the results are unclear. These are the times Super Shadow has appeared in the comics. The anti-hero's super form has been used sparingly over the years, but it's still appeared a few times. When Shadow returns to Archie Sonic in issue 124, it's in his super form, having been powered up by the BEM to face off with another alien species known as the Zorda. Then in issue 169, after being freed by Eggman, Super Shadow teams up with Turbo Tails to send all of the Chaos Emeralds to the Special Zone. Then Sonic Universe number 2 features a flashback to the events of Adventure 2, while Sonic Universe number 60 features one to Shadow the Hedgehog. Shadow hasn't gotten to go super in IDW yet. Silver has, but that's fair considering Silver didn't get to go super at all in Archie, despite it being teased once. This is the robotic version of Big the Cat. While a lot of Sonic's friends have some form of robot copy, Big has been mostly left out of that. Of course, in the IDW comics, he was one of the many victims of the Zombot virus, plus whatever was going on in Sonic Heroes multiplayer mode, but we did get a glimpse of a big robot during the Archie Mega Man crossover. In the Short Circuits comic in Mega Man number 27, Eggman and Dr. Wily unveil their most powerful roboticized master, Big Man. However, upon receiving the command to do what he does best, he expectedly goes fishing. This is when Sonic met Rosy the Rascal. In issue 193 of the Archie Sonic comics, after Sonic and Amy teleport to Moebius to counter Scourge's attack on their own universe, Buns Robot suggests the two recruit Amy's counterpart from this world. Dr. Contober says it's a bad idea, but Sonic and Amy still think it's their best bet. Arriving at Castle Acorn, Sonic, Amy, and Buns find her sitting on the throne, but when they attempt to recruit her, they find that while she does want to destroy Scourge, she's also crazy and immediately attacks them. Sonic protests that they have the same enemy, and Rosy retorts that she just wants to destroy Sonics in general. Amy attempts to get through to her as well, saying that she isn't a Sonic and they're more like sisters, but Rosy responds that the fact that she's breathing is close enough. Amy then focuses on fighting off her crazed copy, while Sonic searches for how Scourge was jumping to their universe. This is when Sally died. Sorta. In issue 225 of the Archie Sonic comics, Eggman unleashes an attack on New Mobotropolis with his new Death Egg. Sonic and Sally manage to be the first inside and begin searching for the Doctor, only to be confronted by a newly rebuilt Silver Sonic. While Sonic enjoys battling his robotic copy, Sally realizes they're just being distracted. When Eggman announces that he's about to activate his new weapon, the princess decides to run ahead without the blue hero, only to come face to face with a turret, which fires on her, seemingly ending her life. However, at the same time, Eggman activates the Genesis Wave, rewriting the universe and unwittingly saving her. When Sonic manages to undo the Doctor's universal rewrite, he's returned to his proper timeline with just enough time to save Sally this time around. This is the birth of Eclipse. Issue 60 of Sonic Universe shows us the creation of Shadow's sibling from the Archie comics. After the events of Shadow the Hedgehog and the destruction of Black Doom, Black Death, the remaining leader of the Black Arms, begins planning their counterattack. Knowing they have no chance of defeating Shadow on their own, the Black Arms create a counter to the ultimate life form, with Eclipse the Darkling. While most of the Black Arms are under the command of the Hive Mind, Eclipse was given free will, both to act on his own and even question the orders of the Black Arms. This is when Eggman 1. In issue 205 of the Archie Sonic comics, the deranged Doctor managed to escape his holding cell in the Iron Dominion, only remembering that he has to destroy Sonic. Managing to steal a giant turtle mech, Eggman confronts his longtime enemy in the Great Forest. Sonic quickly realizes his old foe is not fully there mentally at the moment, and decides to go easy on him. After Tails arrives and disables the robot, Sonic peacefully approaches the Doctor, telling him the fight is over, only for him to get punched in the face. The deranged Doctor celebrates finally getting that hedgehog before passing out, with Sonic and Tails deciding to bring him back to the city's jail for his own safety. This is one of Sonic and Knuckles' many fights. In issue 271 of the Archie Sonic comics, Sonic and Knuckles face off in the final round of the Chaos Emerald Championship. While the two are fighting, they get nostalgic about some of their previous bouts, flashing back to their first meeting, their fight and adventure, and even Sonic Battle. The two take the opportunity to catch up, during which Knuckles reveals that the Master Emerald had been shattered again, and the only reason Angel Island hadn't plummeted to the ground is the Shattered World Crisis, keeping the pieces of the planet afloat. Sonic offers to throw the fight so Knuckles can get back to searching, but Knuckles tells him he'd prefer a decent fight. The two continue to blow off some steam, but their fight unfortunately has to end in a draw, when it's interrupted by the hooligans attempting to steal the Chaos Emerald. This is when Sonic's mom got roboticized. In issue 79 of the Archie Sonic comics, it's revealed how Bernadette Hedgehog was turned into a robot. After her husband was fatally wounded and was roboticized by Uncle Chuck in an effort to save his life, it's found that Jules Hedgehog then had no free will of his own. Chuck, thinking himself to be a failure, ends up handing over all his equipment to Robotnik. When Bernadette goes to check on her husband, she finds him being used as a test subject by Robotnik and Snively. When she confronts them, Robotnik orders Jules to grab his wife and throw her into the roboticizer, horrifyingly transforming her. Happy Mother's Day, by the way! This is when Antoine proposed to Bunny. After it's revealed that Fiona had betrayed the freedom fighters for Scourge, Antoine asks Sonic and Amy to come with him, saying he's doing something that he should have done a long time ago. And when the next issue opens, it's revealed that he meant proposing to Bunny, who immediately says yes. Sonic congratulates the two, asking Antoine how long it took him to work up the courage to do this, to which he replies, weeks. Meanwhile, Amy already starts trying to plan the wedding, though Bunny tries to calm her down, saying Antoine just proposed. Her beau says they won't have to wait long though, and he's right because the ceremony happens the next issue. This is when Silver made Sonic mad. In issue 235 of the Archie Sonic comics, Silver, believing he discovered the identity of the traitor to the Freedom Fighters, rushes off to tell Sonic. The blue hero is in no mood to hear it, but before he can shut the window, Silver blurts out that it's Antoine. Sonic then bursts through the window and drags Silver by his quills to the hospital before throwing him into a room, bringing Silver face to face with Antoine, who's currently in a coma. While explaining to Silver that Antoine sacrificed himself, Sonic happens across a letter from Bunny, informing everyone that she's leaving, leading Silver to speculate she would be the traitor. Sonic immediately goes to hit Silver again, but is caught by his telekinesis. Sonic tells Silver that he doesn't believe there's a traitor, that he believes in his friends, and that Silver should go home. And when Silver tells him he's stranded in this time now, Sonic tells him to just get out of his sight. They just announced a new Sonic manga. Starting June 13th, Koto Comics will be releasing a new series titled Sonic and the Blade of Courage, and it will be helmed by Yuki Yamada, who also did the Shadow Generations manga. If you've seen my videos on it, you know I really enjoyed the Shadow manga, and I was hoping Yamada would get to work on another Sonic project. So this is excellent news for me. We haven't gotten too much in the way of details outside of the fact that this will be an original story, and it looks like it might lean a little bit more into the comedy aspect, but I'm looking forward to it. This is when Rouge tricked everybody. In issue 173 of the Archie Sonic comics, Knuckles reaches out to the Freedom Fighters, telling them he heard a rumor that Rouge stole the Master Emerald and was auctioning it off. Being that he wasn't on speaking terms with his father, who was then guarding the emerald, Knuckles has no way to confirm if this is true, but the Freedom Fighters offer to go check it out. The group first happen across the hooligans, who they are able to quickly apprehend, and then move on to confront Rouge, who is currently speaking with a weakened Mammoth Mogul and Naugus. Before the villains can grab the emerald, Sonic and Bunny manage to take out Naugus, and Sally knocks the Mammoth unconscious. Just as the Freedom Fighters move on to deal with Rouge, she reveals she never had the emerald at all, and was really just trying to lure villains in to capture them, in an attempt to impress Knuckles. This is when Big fought Silver Sonic. In issue 253 of the Archie Sonic comics, Sonic and Tails are trying to track down the Freedom Fighters in their newly rebooted world. While looking for Rotor in the Mystic Ruins jungle, they first find Big, who gladly takes them to the Walrus, only to find him under attack by a group of Badniks. While the groups start to take them down together, Silver Sonic arrives and begins spin dashing towards the Freedom Fighters' Sky Patrol. Luckily, Big catches the giant robot and launches it into the air, with it being blown up by Rotor. This would not be the end of Silver Sonic, as it would be repaired and return in issue 281, seemingly intent on getting its revenge on Big. This is when Mighty reunited with his sister. In issue 48 of Archie's Sonic Universe, Mighty is able to finally track down the location of his long-lost sister Matilda. After infiltrating the Sandblasters, he approaches the local chapter of the Dark Egg Legion and purposefully gets himself captured. Once he meets the Baron, he tells him that he's looking for his sister, leading to him reuniting the two of them. Unfortunately, Matilda doesn't remember Mighty, revealing that her earliest memories were growing up in an orphanage and then being roboticized. Even after being freed from Robotnik's control, she really only knew hardship. Mighty tries to apologize for not being there, but she just responds that she doesn't know him, so he means nothing to her. As she leaves, the Baron explains that she's been distant for a very long time, and he hoped reuniting with Mighty would have helped her, but reassures the armadillo he's going to do what he can to keep looking out for her. This is when Nicole went stargazing. In issue 151 of the Archie Sonic comics, Sally wakes up in the middle of the night only to glimpse a figure in her room. She attempts to ask Nicole if she detected any movement, but the handheld assistant does not respond. When the princess goes to investigate on her own, she finds a lynx outside the castle, who reveals herself to be Nicole, having created a simulated form so that she may experience life like Sally, though she reveals that she can't stay in this form long as it uses too much power. As she feels her energy running out, the two decide to watch the stars together. Nicole saying that even though she'd mapped out all the constellations in the sky, getting to see them like this is like seeing them for the first time. A version of these events would survive the reboot as well, as in Sonic Universe number 73, Sally awakes in the middle of the night, discovering Nicole in her holographic form, with the two then going stargazing together. This is when Sonic decided to work alone. In Archie's Sonic Mega Drive, the Next Level comic, Sonic begins to grow a little frustrated at his friends taking all the glory. When heading through the haunted depth zone, Sonic takes the opportunity to run ahead by himself, much to his friends' protest. While the Speedy Hedgehog gets to enjoy the adventure at his own pace, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy are attacked by a giant Badnik, which both sets fire to Tails and electrocutes Knuckles before Amy figures out how to take it down. Back with Sonic, the hero finishes up with Eggman, tricking the Doctor into destroying his own machine. When he goes to share his victory, he remembers he's all alone, realizing it's not as fun beating up Eggman without his friends alongside him. And when he reunites with his friends in the next zone, he makes sure that he's patient with them. This is when Scourge got his revenge. After being arrested and outfitted with a control collar that suppressed his powers, Scourge found himself the victim of violence and harassment within the multiversal prison, with there being no greater perpetrator of this than his cellmate Smalls the Cat, who would both beat up Scourge and stole his mattress, forcing the Green Hedgehog to sleep on springs. However, when the Destructics stage a prison break, opening all the cells and disabling control collars, Scourge takes the opportunity to give his cellmate what's coming to him. This is when Blaze got captured. In issue 55 of Sonic Universe, Blaze, along with Marine, Amy, and Cream, are locked in a ship battle with pirates seeking out the last Soul Emerald. While the group does everything they can to repel their foes' attacks, they find the other ship's weaponry is superior. When there's a break in the fighting, Blaze attempts to board the boat in secret, only to be discovered almost immediately. The captain of the ship tells her he'd spare her friends if she gives herself up, and though she does meet with him, he reveals he was lying and blasts her ship to pieces. Consumed with rage at the thought of her friend's end, she immediately goes to destroy the captain. But she's so focused on her revenge, she doesn't notice the pirate sneaking up behind her, who knocks her unconscious. Thankfully, Amy, Marine, and Cream all manage to survive the ordeal and immediately begin planning Blaze's rescue. Somehow, Green Knuckles has returned. In the third issue of the DCX Sonic crossover, on shelves now, go check it out, still not sponsored by the way. When our substitute heroes head to the Hall of Justice, they are confronted by a green version of Knuckles, telling them that there's only one otter allowed per planet. This is quickly revealed to be Beast Boy, as Tails corrects him that Knuckles is an echidna. Sonic then comments that now they know Knuckles would look awful in green. On the surface, this is a reference to Chaos Knuckles, or Green Knuckles as Ken's copyright notice calls him, but it's also a reference to Rankles the Otter, a prank that appeared in the 11th issue of the UK's Sega magazine. Maybe Beast Boy will turn into Sonic before this book's over. Have you all heard of Sparkflame? This past Wednesday, the crew behind IDW Sonic independently released Sparkflame, a Shonen Jump-styled comic anthology spotlighting their original projects. With a total of 11 stories, with each of them getting 6 pages, essentially samples of each concept, each of them bringing a unique and engaging art style. I've been excited for this for a while because I've been very hyped for Endless Fantasia, an original project by Daniel Barnes, the writer behind Scrapnik Island. But this whole book is worth checking out. Sharkbait by Natalie Haynes hooked me with a very interesting world, Miles Ark's Heart to Heart appealed to my inner Toku fan, Rick Mack's Tales of Captain Blackbeard is extremely effective, and I could sing the praises for every story in here. But I think you should all read for yourselves. They have an itch.io page, go check it out. While I will love Sonic until I turn to dust, the medium of comics is what's always had my heart, and more creator-owned comics, especially from creators you love, is always a good thing. This is when Silver met Sonic in the Archie Sonic comics. After making his comic debut in issue 194, the telekinetic hedgehog attempts to track down the speedy hero, first enlisting Amy's cousin, Robbo the Hedge, to guide him to Freedom HQ. Upon arriving, they discover that Sonic is currently on the mirror reality of Moebius, with Silver heading after him immediately. Unfortunately, when Silver arrives, he finds most of the hedgehogs are in a giant battle with one another. Silver attempts to figure out which of them is Sonic, before getting tired of being ignored and freezing everyone with his telekinesis, revealing that he's here to destroy the Speedy Hedgehog. While Sonic first tries to hide his identity, the presence of Metal Sonic helps Silver realize which of them is the real Sonic. Before their fight can go further though, Sonic's able to convince Silver to help him take down Scourge before the two of them deal with each other. This is when Knuckles remembered Snively. In the post-reboot Archie Sonic comics, at some point around the events of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, assisted by Mecha Sonic, Snively would attempt and fail to steal the Master Emerald. Since then, however, Snively began working for the Guardian Units of Nations. Despite this, he's still very clearly interested in getting his hands on the Emerald, and in issue 70 of Sonic Universe, he returns to Angel Island to collect the Black Arms technology left there by Eclipse. However, while Knuckles is overseeing them, he begins to think Snively looks familiar, before realizing he's the little punk that tried to steal the Master Emerald, and promptly kicks him off the island. This is when Sonic met Breezie. In issue 268 of the Archie Sonic comics, after successfully defeating Coconuts, Scratch and Grounder prepare their own plan, with Breezie masquerading as a hostage. Though Scratch doesn't even have time to finish his first threat before the Hedgehog knocks the two unconscious. Breezie thanks him for his help, and when Sonic goes to leave to rescue Tails, she asks to tag along, which Sonic hesitantly agrees to. As they're traversing the island, however, Sonic comments how Super Badniks seem to be waiting for them, with Breezie revealing that she'd been giving the Doctor intel. Sonic tells her she's putting Tails' life in danger, to which she replies that her own comes first, and sicks the Badnik on Sonic. Despite their rocky introduction, the two seem to have a fine relationship now. This is when Eggman kidnapped Professor Pickle. In the Archie Sonic comics, in the midst of the Shattered World crisis, Eggman learns of Professor Pickle, an expert on the matter, and sends one of his Super Badniks to capture him, and ends up capturing Uncle Chuck as well. This leads the Freedom Fighters to stage a rescue from Eggman's bullet train. They end up having to bust into each individual train car until Sonic finally finds the two, though the Professor doesn't seem to realize he's been kidnapped. Before Sonic can break them free, he's confronted by the Super Badnik, E-106 Theta. Sonic does his best to outmaneuver the robotic juggernaut, but is distracted when Uncle Chuck is knocked unconscious and gets caught off guard. The stress almost transforms him into the Werehog, but thankfully Amy makes the save, keeping Theta back while the rest of the Freedom Fighters rescue the two. This is how Shadow met Blaze. In Archie's Sonic Universe number 1, after being left to drown in the Soul Dimension by Metal Sonic, the ultimate life form is rescued by Blaze and Marine. Shadow explains his current situation, while Blaze recaps her previous interactions with Sonic, including the fact that Sonic Rush Adventure basically occurs off-panel. The group arrive at the nearest island, only to discover Metal Sonic terrorizing its inhabitants, and the three work together to defeat the Eggman creation. Unfortunately, also destroying the dimensional engine that would allow Shadow to return home. And also, Marine can't even really build the Hedgehog a boat, which greatly upsets him. Thankfully, Blaze gives him a Chaos Emerald, saying she's returning Sonic's own generosity by helping one of his friends get home, and Shadow thanks her for saving his life twice in one day. This is when Rouge helped Knuckles. In the aftermath of Knuckles' rampage when he was possessed by Enerjack, the Echidna is feeling pretty low, blaming himself for all the pain that was caused, deciding it would be better to everyone if he returned to living in isolation on Angel Island. However, while he waits for his friends to leave, Rouge arrives and begins talking with him. Knuckles says his decision is the best thing for everyone, but Rouge isn't buying it, saying that Eggman or Finitivis could have attacked whether he was here or not, and reminds him that not confronting the Doctor had only made things worse in the past. She tells him with the warp rings he can keep watching over Angel Island, but also continue helping outside of it, and her words do get through to him. Unfortunately, it looks like she may have had an ulterior motive for helping, but whatever it may be was not revealed before the reboot. This is how Amy got her hammer in the Archie Sonic comics. In the pre-reboot timeline, after being transformed by the Ring of Acorns, while protecting a Flicky in Station Square, she finds she can suddenly summon a hammer, which she uses to take down one of Eggman's robots. Unfortunately, shortly after defeating it, two more of the robots arrive and capture her. Post-reboot in Sonic Mega Drive, Amy reunites with Sonic, wanting to join his adventure, though he's hesitant, saying he'd be too busy to rescue her, only for Sonic to walk directly into a wall of spikes. Amy takes the opportunity to show off her new hammer, showing that she can handle herself now, and when Eggman arrives in a giant robot, she's the one to land the final blow. This is when Espio confronted Knuckles. After being forced into the service of the Iron Dominion, Espio is ordered to steal the Master Emerald. Knuckles says he'd heard rumors of Espio turning on him, to which the chameleon responds that he's doing what he was ordered to do. The two fight, ending with Espio holding the Echidna at Kunai Point on the edge of Angel Island. Knuckles asks him if he'd really steal the Master Emerald, with the ninja saying he would, asking if he'll have to kill his old friend to do it, with the Guardian retorting that he would. Thankfully, this gives Espio an out, saying in this case he has conflicting orders and can't do anything. Knuckles tries to figure out how to help his friend, with the chameleon saying the only way to free him from the Iron Queen's command would be to get the 4 ninja clans to break away from the Iron Dominion. Knuckles tries to ask more questions, but Espio is already gone, leaving the Echidna to just hope his friend will be alright. Thank you all so much for watching. A special thank you to my patrons, and a special shout out to my $5 patrons, Ned Rex, NateDM990, Diddly Do, and Queer Kaiju. See y'all in the next video.